The mop hit the floor with a wet slap as the old Chinese janitor bent down to clean up the spilled water from Muhammad Ali's training session. For 15 years, Chen had swept the floors at Ali's Deer Lake training camp, emptying trash cans and speaking broken English to anyone who bothered to notice him. But on this humid Pennsylvania morning in 1978, Ali was about to discover something that would change everything he thought he knew about greatness. The quiet man who had been invisible for over a decade was about to reveal a secret that would humble the most famous athlete in the world. What Ali learned about his janitor in the next hour wouldn't just shock him. It would teach him the most important lesson of his entire career, that the greatest teachers often come disguised as the people we pay the least attention to. August 1978. The Deer Lake training camp nestled in the Pennsylvania mountains was buzzing with its usual pre-fight energy. Ali, now 36 years old, was preparing for his upcoming bout with Leon Spinks, the young fighter who had shocked the world by defeating Ali just 7 months earlier. The rematch would determine whether Ali could reclaim his title for an unprecedented third time. The camp was Ali's sanctuary, a place he had built from nothing in 1972. Scattered across the wooded property were log cabins that housed visiting fighters, a boxing ring under the open sky, heavy bags hanging from tree branches, and a small gymnasium where Ali did his serious work. It was rustic, unconventional, and perfectly suited to a fighter who had always done things his own way. As Ali finished his morning sparring session, sweat dripping from his forehead, he walked toward the water station to cool down. In his haste, he bumped into the water dispenser, sending a stream of water cascading across the wooden floor. "Damn," Ali muttered, looking around for something to clean up the mess. That's when Chen appeared, as he always did, seemingly from nowhere. The small, wiry Chinese man was probably in his 70s, though his exact age was a mystery to everyone at the camp. He had been working there since 1963, when Ali was still Cassius Clay, arriving each morning at dawn and leaving after dark, maintaining the facility with quiet efficiency. "I clean, Mr. Ali," Chen said in his heavily accented English, already moving toward the maintenance closet to get his mop. Ali watched as the old man returned and began methodically cleaning the water. There was something about Chen's movements that caught Ali's attention this morning. They were fluid, precise, almost dance-like in their efficiency. "Chen," Ali said, using the only name anyone knew the janitor by, "how long have you been doing this?" Chen looked up, surprised to be engaged in conversation. In 15 years, very few people at the camp had bothered to speak with him beyond basic pleasantries. "Long time, Mr. Ali. I start when you young fighter. Still have name Cassius Clay." "That's right," Ali said, studying the old man's face. "You've been here through everything. All the fights, all the championships, all the comebacks." Chen nodded and continued mopping, but Ali wasn't finished. "You know, Chen, I've been watching you work for all these years, but I realize I don't know anything about you. Where are you from? How did you end up here?" Chen paused in his mopping, a flicker of something, surprise, perhaps, or nervousness, crossing his weathered features. "I from China, Mr. Ali. Come to America long time ago. Work here, work there. This good job, steady work." Ali sensed there was more to the story. In all his years of training, he had developed an instinct for reading people, for detecting when someone wasn't telling the whole truth. "China's a big country," Ali said. "What part?" "North," Chen said quickly, returning to his mopping with increased intensity. "What did you do there? Before you came to America?" Chen stopped mopping altogether now and looked directly at Ali. For the first time in 15 years, Ali saw something in the old man's eyes that he had never noticed before: intelligence, depth, and something that might have been amusement. "I was teacher, Mr. Ali." "What kind of teacher?" Chen was quiet for a long moment, clearly weighing his response. "I teach fighting," he said finally. Ali frowned. "Fighting? Like boxing?" "Not boxing. Different fighting. Old fighting." Something in Chen's tone made Ali step closer. "Show me." "Mr. Ali? Show me what you taught. I'm curious." Chen shook his head. "I too old now, just janitor." But Ali's competitive instincts were fully engaged now. "Come on, Chen. Humor me. Just show me something small." Chen looked around the gymnasium, making sure they were alone. Then, with obvious reluctance, he set down his mop and stood in the center of the room. What happened next left Muhammad Ali speechless. Chen moved into a stance that was completely different from anything Ali had ever seen. His feet found positions that seemed impossible for a man his age. His arms flowed into configurations that looked both defensive and offensive simultaneously. Then he began to move. It wasn't like boxing, with its linear punches and defensive postures. It wasn't like the limited martial arts Ali had seen in movies. This was something else entirely, a flowing, continuous motion that seemed to make Chen's body move like water, like wind, like something that couldn't be grabbed or pinned down. For 30 seconds, Chen demonstrated movements that defied his apparent age and frailty. His techniques flowed from one to another seamlessly, his balance perfect, his control absolute. When he finished, he was barely breathing hard. Ali stared in amazement. "What the hell was that?" "Kung Fu," Chen said simply. "But not movie Kung Fu. Real Kung Fu." "You're a Kung Fu master?" Chen's expression grew serious. "I was. Long time ago. In China, I teach at temple. Very famous school. But then—" He paused, choosing his words carefully. "Political trouble. Had to leave China. Come to America 1962. Nobody care about old Chinese fighting here. So I work, sweep floors, stay quiet." Ali's mind was reeling. For 15 years, he had walked past this man every single day, never realizing he was in the presence of someone who might be one of the greatest martial artists alive. "Why didn't you ever say anything? Why didn't you tell anyone what you could do?" Chen picked up his mop again, as if the demonstration had never happened. "Who would believe? Old Chinese janitor at boxing camp? Better to stay quiet. Watch. Learn." "Learn what?" Chen looked at Ali with those intelligent eyes that Ali was now seeing clearly for the first time. "Learn about you, Mr. Ali. Learn about real fighting. Learn about heart." "What do you mean?" Chen gestured toward the heavy bag that Ali had been working on earlier. 15 years I watch you train. I see you when you young, angry, fast. I see you when you get older, wiser, more tired. I see you lose everything, then win everything back. I see you fight government, fight racism, fight other fighters. But most important, I see you fight yourself. Ali was transfixed by the old man's words. In China, we say best fighter is one who win without fighting. You understand this, Mr. Ali? Sometimes you win fights before you even get in ring. You win with words, with courage, with standing up for what right. Chen moved closer, his voice dropping to almost a whisper. But I also see something else. I see you always trying to prove something. Always need to show you strongest, fastest, greatest. This not true strength. What do you mean it's not true strength? Ali asked, a edge of defensiveness in his voice. True strength is like water, Mr. Ali. Water not try to be strongest thing. But water defeat rock, defeat mountain, defeat everything, just by being what it is. Chen gestured to the elaborate training setup around them, the weights, The heavy bags, the speed bags, all the equipment Ali used to maintain his physical supremacy. All this, Chen said, is like trying to be rock. Hard, strong, impressive. But rock always break eventually. Water never break. Water just flow around obstacle. Find new path. Keep moving. Ali felt something stirring inside him that he hadn't experienced in years. The feeling of learning something completely new. Are you saying I've been training wrong all these years? Chen shook his head. No, Mr. Ali. You train your body very good. Make yourself very strong. Very fast. But, he tapped his temple, mind need different training. Heart need different training. I don't understand. Chen smiled for the first time in their conversation. You understand more than you think. When you young fighter, you try to knock out everyone, prove you strongest. But when you get older, you learn something different. You learn to rope-a-dope. Ali's eyes widened. Chen was referring to the strategy that had made Ali famous, allowing stronger opponents to exhaust themselves against him before turning the tables. Rope-a-dope is water fighting, Chen continued. You not try to be strongest. You let opponent be strongest. You just absorb, adapt, wait for right moment. This is Kung Fu principle. Very old principle. You discover this yourself. Ali sat down on a nearby bench, his mind racing. You're saying I've been practicing Kung Fu without knowing it? Not just Kung Fu. You practice wisdom. When you refuse to fight in Vietnam, this water fighting. You could use force, use anger, fight government with violence. Instead, you flow around obstacle. You find different path. You win by losing. Chen's words hit Ali like a revelation. He began to see his entire career in a new light, not as a series of physical conquests, but as lessons in adapting, flowing, finding strength through apparent weakness. Why are you telling me this now? Ali asked. Chen was quiet for a moment. Then he walked to a small wooden box in the corner of the gymnasium that Ali had never noticed before. He opened it and pulled out something that made Ali gasp, a collection of newspaper clippings, fight programs, and photographs documenting Ali's entire career. I keep these, Chen said, spreading some of the items on a nearby table. 15 years I watch, I learn, I understand. You think I just janitor, but I studying greatest fighter of all time. Ali looked at the collection in amazement. There were articles from fights he had forgotten, photographs from training sessions going back to his earliest days at the camp, even ticket stubs from some of his most important bouts. You collected all this? Every fight, every interview, every moment of greatness, Chen said. In China, master always study student before accepting them. I study you 15 years. Now I know you ready. Ready for what? Ready to learn what you already know, but don't know you know. Chen reached into the box and pulled out one more item, a simple handwritten scroll covered in Chinese characters. What's that? Is called Tao of Fighting, Chen said. Very old text. Teach about fighting without fighting, winning without conquering, being strongest by being most flexible. Chen unrolled the scroll partially, revealing elegant calligraphy. I translate for you, if you want learn. Not just Chinese words, meaning behind words. Philosophy that make fighter not just strong, but wise. Ali stared at the scroll, then at Chen, then back at the collection of memorabilia that represented his life's work. You've been teaching me this whole time, haven't you? Without me even knowing it. Chen smiled again. Best teacher is invisible teacher. Student learn by doing, not by being told what to do. I just watch, make sure you have clean place to learn, safe place to grow. But why? Why spend 15 years watching over me? What did you get out of it? Chen's expression grew thoughtful. In China, I teach many students. Strong students, fast students, dedicated students. But none like you. None who understand that fighting is about more than just fighting. He gestured toward the newspaper clippings. You use fighting to teach world about courage, about standing up for what right, about never giving up. You show that strongest person is one who help others find their strength. This very advanced Kung Fu principle. Chen began packing up his collection carefully. I come to America thinking I lose everything. My school, my students, my purpose. But watching you, I learn I not lose anything. I just find new way to teach. Through you, I teach millions of people, even if they never know my name. Ali felt tears forming in his eyes. Chen, I never realized. All these years, I was doing what teachers do. Chen said simply. I was helping student become who they meant to be. For several minutes, they sat in comfortable silence. Then Ali spoke. Will you teach me? I mean, really teach me? The Kung Fu, the philosophy, everything? Chen looked at Ali seriously. You sure you want learn from old janitor? Ali smiled through his tears. I want to learn from the master. And so began the most unusual mentorship in boxing history. For the remaining years of Ali's fighting career and beyond, Chen taught him the deeper principles of martial arts, not the physical techniques, but the mental and spiritual disciplines that made true warriors. They would meet early each morning before anyone else arrived at camp. Chen would guide Ali through meditation exercises, breathing techniques, and philosophical discussions that changed how Ali approached not just fighting, but life itself. The lessons continued even after Ali retired from boxing. As Parkinson's disease began to affect Ali's movement and speech, Chen taught him how to find strength in stillness, power in silence, dignity in limitation. Water, still water, even when it cannot flow. Chen would tell him during the difficult days, your essence not change, because body change. When Chen died in 1989 at the age of 94, Ali was devastated. At the memorial service, held at a small Buddhist temple in Philadelphia, Ali spoke about his unlikely teacher. People always ask me who taught me the most about fighting, Ali said, his voice already showing the effects of Parkinson's. They expect me to say Angelo Dundee or some famous trainer. But the greatest teacher I ever had was a man most people never noticed. A man who swept floors and emptied trash cans and never asked for anything in return except the chance to watch me grow. Ali paused, gathering strength to continue. Chen taught me that the strongest people are often the quietest people. That wisdom comes disguised as ordinary work. That greatness isn't about being seen. It's about seeing others clearly and helping them become who they're meant to be. At Ali's own memorial service in 2016, there was one item displayed that surprised many attendees, Chen's original Tao of Fighting scroll, along with a simple placard that read, "Donated by Muhammad Ali, who learned from the greatest teacher he never knew he had." Today, that scroll hangs in the Muhammad Ali Center in Louisville, alongside a photograph of Ali and Chen taken secretly by Howard Bingham in 1985. In the photo, the aging champion is seated in meditation posture, while the elderly Chinese man adjusts his positioning. Both men are smiling peacefully. The exhibit includes a quote from Ali's final interview, given just months before his death. People always want to know the secret to being great. They think it's about training harder or being more talented than everyone else. But the real secret is learning to see the teachers who are right in front of you. The people who sweep your floors might be sweeping them clean so you can see more clearly. The people who empty your trash might be emptying it so you can fill up with better things. Pay attention to the people you don't pay attention to. That's where the real lessons are. Because sometimes the greatest masters come disguised as servants. Sometimes the most profound wisdom comes from the people we assume have nothing to teach us. And sometimes the teachers who change our lives forever are the ones who spend 15 years quietly preparing us for lessons we didn't even know we needed to learn. Muhammad Ali discovered that true greatness isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about learning to listen to the quietest one. And sometimes, the quietest voice belongs to someone who has been sweeping the floors around your ego for decades, waiting patiently for you to become humble enough to learn what they've been trying to teach you all along.